Welcome to Fear Less, Do More. In this episode, Jill sits down with Jack and Tom Atha, co-directors at Atha Developments. And for those of you watching, you're not seeing double. Jack and Tom are indeed twins.
I mean, my attendance record in the first 3 weeks was 2%.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Which is poor. Even that is poor.
That looks still.
Yeah, try to see it.
That's
Yeah.
not very good, is it?
It's not very good.
Yeah.
I remember when I actually went to see my tutor, I basically just sat down like this. I was like, oh, look, I don't think I'm going to continue. He was like, yeah, that's a good idea. I was like, what do you mean? He was like, well, you've already failed the first year because you missed 3 assignments.
I thought you were going to say, you went, who are you? So we bought this new bathroom for the caravan.
This is how bad at building we were, by
This is
the way.
how bad we were. So at B&Q. And we went out to the pub for a few pints. And then we came back about 1 o'clock. I thought it'd be a good idea to try and fit a new bathroom.
We were sozzled.
We had a few shandies.
Yeah, we did. We had a couple of shandies.
And basically we were fitting this bathroom in the caravan. And we thought it went really well. Like, we were like, brilliant. Woke up in the morning. Oh my God, what had happened? When you start your own business and you have plans, like, look, everyone wants to be, you know, a millionaire or rich or whatever that means. You sort of do aspire to that. But as we sort of grew in our journey, to be honest with you, just having the sort of the work-life balance, I know that's a really
Well, it became more of like a culture of, we just really enjoyed what we were doing.
Yeah.
But now we're sort of potentially going to broaden our horizons a little bit.
We'll always look for sort of what we call like the
funds.
polytechnic like town.
Right,
so,
yeah. But it doesn't have to be property, does it? I mean, we're really opportunity. I mean, we nearly opened a cable wakeboard park in Middlesbrough.
What?
Cable wakeboard park.
What is that?
So
Jack and Tom, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for joining me today.
well, thanks for having us.
Hello, yeah.
Great. I think this is the first time we've ever had siblings on the show, never mind twins.
Is it?
Well, may as well go big.
We were going to ttry and mix up to confuse you, but
Yeah, well, I'm pleased that you've worn different
Let you
outfits.
off.
I would just say that. Hopefully we'll get it right. I've had some, you've given me a steer, Jack Black.
yeah, blackjack.
Yeah. So
Don't
we'll
look
be
at
fine. But you have a business together, Atha Properties.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. Started about 13,
Yeah,
14
14 years ago, yeah.
And I mean, obviously it's called Atha Properties. I'm presuming it's something to do with property.
It
but
is.
What do you do?
Oh, I've got a good line for it. Right, we've only just perfected this now. Normally people ask what you do. It's like,
We always say like,
builder or something. But
have you seen Homes Under the Hammer? It's sort of like that.
wait. Let's give it what it says.
Don't steal his thunder.
I know.
We run a multidiscipline property development company that specialises in commercial and residential developments.
Oh,
Wow.
smashed it.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was
You
pretty
got
boring.
Okay,
But
let's just unpick
dull.
that.
Right, okay, so basically what it is, we specialise in student accommodation. It's opportunistic really how we sort of like buy and find the builds. It's either a plot of land or as something like an old office block, or it could be a townhouse. And essentially, summary is we buy that, renovate it into student accommodation, rent it out.
Yeah.
It's nothing much more than that, to be
So it is
honest.
Homes Under the Hammer.
It is Homes Under the
It's
Hammer.
basically- at the start, it was definitely Homes Under the Hammer, buying little townhouses, gutting them, renovating them, making every mistake under the sun, and somehow still coming out luckily okay at the end of it. And then as we got bigger and grew, we started doing a bit bigger things, and then it went from renovating, say, office blocks into large HMOs, and then building our own schemes, so flat pieces of land, new build development straight from the ground to finish. So yeah, so it's but it's been a bit of a whirlwind 14 years, to be fair.
When you started, you both didn't intend to do this at the start, did you? You both went off to uni.
Yeah. So the school we went to, and there's no criticism of the school because I absolutely love it, but I think it's what happens. Like the assumption is you will go to university, and it always is. It's like we were there and they were like, "Oh, what do you want to do at uni?" It wasn't, "Would you like to go to uni?" For a
Yeah,
start.
the other options weren't really. I mean, we didn't do any research on the other options, but they weren't really presented. To
No,
sort of
and
thing,
we're not very academic people. We're just not. We're very practical people, like to use hand. So we essentially picked a course that Tom did. First course he picked was psychology.
Yeah,
was it?
I don't even know. I didn't even do psychology at school. Like, I just thought.
Well, you thought there'd be loads of girls.
I did think there were loads of
That is why you did it.
There we go.
And I was right.
Yeah.
And I was right.
You were
but
right,
it turned out I was well at my depth. After 1 week, I was like, "What am I doing here?"
Yeah.
I haven't got
It's
a clue.
quite there's a lot of maths in psychology, isn't there? It's like it's
It
not
was-
it's
but
not
Tom
like
didn't last
all
long enough to
fun.
know
It's
that.
not all about serial killers,
Who knows?
basically.
Yeah, exactly. We thought you'd be able
You'll
to
probably
read
know,
minds.
You'll know more about it than me by the sounds of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
have a clue.
And I did architectural technology, which actually, looking back now, would have saved us thousands. If I'd studied.
You should have stuck
hundreds
on
of
that, to be
thousands would
fair.
have saved us. So yeah, I may have.
You've let us down, though.
I've let it down.
You've let us down.
But we went there to Newcastle, Northumbria. Loved the city, obviously, but I mean, my attendance record in the first 3 weeks was 2%.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Which is poor. Even that is poor.
That looks stern.
Yeah, try and say it.
That's
Yeah.
not very good, is it?
It's not very good.
It became very apparent in early doors. Like,
Yeah.
it just wasn't for us. It's like I think we were just finished with education. Like,
But also we weren't, like now, sort of we're grown up, we're very confident and stuff, but back then we were quite shy kids and we didn't go into halls of residence, which was the first mistake
didn't really
number
meet
one.
many people,
Didn't
did
meet
we?
many people. Going into university was daunting. I remember when I actually went to see my tutor, I think they're called tutors, lecturers maybe.
You wouldn't know.
No, I wouldn't know. To say, oh look, I'm thinking about withdrawing, I'm not very happy here, blah, blah. I basically just sat down like this, I was like, oh look, I don't think I'm going to continue. He was like, yeah, that's a good idea. I was like, what do you mean? He was like, well, you've already failed the first year because you missed 3 assignments. I was like, oh, thank you very much, goodbye. Yeah, cheers. Yeah.
We'll go separate ways.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say, you went, who are you?
Well, I was looking at the corner. I said, I don't know who my lecturer is. I literally don't know who he is. All right, so that was a poor moment. But and then the scariest bit about that was having to then. Well, actually, you dropped out before me,
I dropped out first.
and then we ended up living in Newcastle for 6 months, and that was really good fun. Don't get me wrong, that was mint. We ended up getting little part-time jobs. I got a job at HMV as a Christmas temp. That was great.
And the worst Christmas temp, I think, in history, to be fair. I think it's fair to say.
I didn't really. This is how bad we were at maybe like following instructions or maybe authority. So I was right. It's a little story. So I was in HMV at the Christmas temp, and the shop closed at 8:30. Right, but there was no one in it. I was the only one there, no customers. So I thought it was fine to shut it at 8. So I was like, and I didn't think anything of it. So I shut it all down, did all the tin and stuff, and just left. Like literally shut and walked out. And then I came the next day, and my manager was like, "Oh, you like come see me." I was like, "Oh yeah." He was like, "What time did you leave yesterday?" I was like, "Oh, about 8 o'clock." Yeah, about 8 o'clock. He was like, "Why? Shop closes at 8:30. Your shift doesn't finish at 8:30." I was like, "Yeah, but there's no one here, so I don't get the point." Yeah, so I wasn't actually sacked. I think they felt sorry for me. To be honest.
But that was great. But yeah, so we lasted about. I think I was about 2 weeks, you were about 4 weeks.
Yeah, I did really well to get to 4 weeks.
And then we dropped out. Or withdrew is the official term.
Withdrew.
but
We
dropped out.
withdrew. Yeah.
It chose a different path.
Shows brilliant.
That's
Shows
a better
different
way of
paths.
saying it.
That's a better way.
We'll steal that one. I like that one.
We'll start saying that now.
And I presume at that point in time you didn't go, right, we're not doing this now, so we're going to set up a multifunctional property
Close enough. No,
Well,
we
it sounds
didn't.
boring when you say it. You need to come up with a new name.
Damn it, I thought that was good. Maybe that was just good for the website. No, we didn't. So we essentially dropped out, and then the scariest bit was basically telling mum and dad.
It
Obviously.
always is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because we dropped out and had no sort of real, at the time, no sort of like plan B.
19? 20? How old are you?
Yeah,
About 20.
we told our dad that we had a plan B and we had this thing all figured out and we were going to, become, I don't know, tycoons or whatever. It wasn't going to be, and then in our heads we were like, what do we do? We haven't got a clue what to do. So, we had to tell mum and dad, which was pretty daunting. And they were pretty...
Dad was furious. Let's just
He
put it
was
that way.
furious.
He was absolutely furious.
Mum was very understanding, a little bit disappointed that we did. I mean, in fairness,
We didn't give it a good crack, did we?
But we just knew it wasn't.
You were getting
for us.
kicked out anyway.
Yeah,
so you
I
didn't
was
have a
done.
choice.
Yeah, I was done. And we actually saved a fortune in student finance, to be fair. I used my grant to buy a laptop and a TV, and I didn't have to pay it back. So, yeah. I know, I will promise I
So
will pay it
student
back.
finance, you can find him.
I will pay it back.
139 Middlesbrough. So we told mum and dad, which was pretty tough. And to be fair, they came round and they're obviously really helpful during that period we were living in Newcastle and with us and stuff. But yeah, it was pretty tough.
Yeah, so then what sort of happened? We didn't really know what to do, to be fair.
And then the start of our journey sort of
Yeah.
took off. We had some family friends who were builders, and essentially they lived just near where we did down in Stokesley. And they wanted to renovate. They had a big farm, and they wanted to renovate 4 of their farm buildings into holiday cottages.
Right.
So we were like, look, can we come and be your labourers? Like, just to try and learn the basic skills.
And they were like,
because-
no.
Yeah, at first they were like, no.
Which is fair play to them because we knew nothing about it. And it's not as if we've grown up in sort of like a construction world. We haven't at all.
Yeah.
So we basically, but long story, we managed to persuade them. We said, okay, look, we'll be dirt cheap. Like just pay us in like penny. We don't care. We just want to like learn the basic skills. So we did. So we started this like 12-month project with them. And like Jack says, at the start it was hilarious. Like we knew nothing. So there would be like, little examples we'll start with. Like, can you go to the workshop and get me a Phillips screwdriver and an OSB board? And me and Jack would walk off and go, the hell's a Philip?
Who's Philip?
I don't know. What dude? Philip?
Go ask Philip.
Go ask Philip what an OSB board is.
It was like that. He's like, can you go get a wrench? We were like,
oh my god. So then we'd be 20 minutes looking at this, but they'll come back fuming, like kicking
I think
us
I
off.
quit 7 times.
Oh, I got sacked about a million times.
Yeah.
But we kept crawling our way
My
back
God.
and stuff, and it was genuinely like an amazing sort of like experience, and we were really fortunate to sort of like drop out of uni, get this sort of job.
Yeah, but Dad
and
wouldn't
just-
let us come back home. So it's like when we dropped out of uni, the first thing Dad says, well, where are you going to live? And we were like, oh, well, I thought, here, innit? He was like, no, you've moved out now. Mum was like, oh, you can come and live with me, but we were a bit like, nah, we were a bit cool to live with Mum. So we're like, no. So anyway, so fortunately, while we were doing this 12-month period, Dad did very graciously buy us a caravan to live in on the land.
Nice.
Now we thought, like, you've seen sort of Grand Designs and stuff, and they do have like caravans, but sometimes we were like, oh, it'll be like a chalet bungalow.
Yeah, Winnebago.
It'll be amazing. We'll kid it out. We'll
Wasn't
have a great
that,
time.
was it?
That did not happen.
No, it wasn't that.
This $2,000 heap of, I can't say it, but this tin of metal turned up, and we had to like basically plug this.
It was horrendous in winter. Like, I didn't know gas froze. I didn't do well enough at science to know gas froze, but it does. Gas
How long
froze.
were you living in a caravan for?
A year, full
Yeah.
year,
So
while
the-
we do the site.
The whole sort of
on
thing.
site, so we couldn't get away from it. That's why when we quit, I stormed off about 50 yards to the caravan. And then came back this morning going, really sorry, can I have my job back, please?
But that was so funny. Like it was great. I mean, the start of our journey, it needed a new bathroom, didn't it? So we bought this new bathroom for the caravan.
This is how bad at building we were, by
This is
the
how
way.
bad we were. So at B&Q. And then we went out to the pub for a few pints. And then we came back about 1 o'clock. I thought it'd be a good idea to try and fit a new bathroom.
We were sozzled.
We had a few shandies.
Yeah, we did. We had a couple of shandies.
And basically we were fitting this bathroom in the caravan. And we thought it went really well. Like we were like, brilliant. Woke up in the morning. Oh my God, what had happened?
Yeah.
Like everything was
Holes
a
in the
wog.
floor.
Nothing fit. There was holes all over the place. It was like,
Raw sewage spewing out.
honestly,
into
basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
Nice.
Like the flooring we put down, it was
Yeah.
just a standard lino. And now we know how to fit it properly, but we didn't then. So we cut this line out and we just nailed it down. So in the bathroom, there's just flooring with nails. Clouting out everywhere. We're like, yeah, that's got to be.
It looked like one of
cool.
those bags with spikes on, like a Valentino bag or something. I don't know
It
what
did
they are.
not look like a
Designer floor.
Valentino
Designer
bag.
floor.
Designer floor.
Yeah.
But good to say, after the 12 of us, we did learn how to build a bit better.
Oh, we were doing all right at that point.
Than that moving forward. And it was so good because it was a start to finish on 4 buildings. We learned like all the basics, all the sort of plumbing, kitchen fitting, joinery, bathroom things. It was
You're just teaching yourselves though? Or was
Well, we've got the
you did-
builders
so the
there.
builders.
So, yeah,
Ah,
so
right.
sorry,
So
yeah.
you
So
were
we're the
sort of,
labourers
yeah.
with the builders, who are also identical twins, actually, weirdly enough.
There's
It was
a
a
lot-
very weird site.
There's
People
a-
come to drop off
yeah.
materials. It was like, what is
There's a
happening?
lot of identical twins in our journey, which is a bit weird.
It's like a cloning
It
farm
was
or
like a,
something.
like a cult.
We still work with like 2 sets of identical twins that are joiners
Yeah.
are identical twins.
That's
and,
amazing,
oh, it's
isn't it?
amazing.
Yeah.
It's,
Well, trust them, don't you? Yeah. But yeah, so they were teaching us. Sorry, so they were teaching us all. I say teaching us. I mean, we were more an inconvenience to them. I'll be honest.
We were tolerating you.
Yeah, and they were
tolerated
very stressed because they had deadlines to hit, and we weren't very good. So we weren't helping. But anyway, we did learn all the basics just by watching them, really.
Yeah.
And
And
then
they're great. We still use them today. We still,
Oh, they're
we're still
brilliant.
friends
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff like
yeah,
that. So it was great. Sort of, we call that our apprenticeship. So it was a great like year-long sort of apprenticeship and a hands-on experience, which we loved. To be fair,
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
weren't quitting, you loved it.
I loved most of it. In summer, it's amazing. Like you're roofing, you've got the sun on your back. You shouldn't have a drink, but we probably had a drink because it was a private farm.
We're on a farm. There's no health and safety on a farm. Yeah, great. You can actually get stuff done.
Yeah, and that was the beginning. And then we sort of, once that had finished, it was, okay, well, now what? So we were very, very fortunate, make no bones about this, but so we borrowed a bit of money off Dad to buy our first townhouse in Middlesbrough. Now, Middlesbrough is an amazing entry point because it's cheap. It's cheap. So the first house we bought was about 50 grand. It wasn't as if like everyone always says, oh, did you have this plan? It wasn't, none of what we sort of did was like planned and mapped out. It was just, oh, what do we do next? Well, and then it all just feels obvious to us, doesn't it? It's okay, well, we'll buy a cheap house and renovate it, rent it out, see what happens.
Well, we do. I think the term "winging it" is probably a little bit not quite fair. Like, it's a bit more planned than winging it. But like, to be honest with you, like we do talks and stuff, and people sort of say, "Oh, what's the structure? What are all the strategies you use?" It's like, well, we didn't. We saw a house that needed fixing up. We fixed it up and rented it out.
You had nothing to lose.
Well, we didn't really.
What's the worst that could
Is
happen?
that,
And
well,
that's
that,
our
yeah, I like
attitude
that.
to
It's
it.
very much our mentality. It's like, what is the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
And so
Well, I'm sure we'll find out one day.
yeah. I was gonna say we haven't had it
When
yet.
one of the townhouses falls down because
Yeah,
you
actually, yeah.
you fitted the bathroom.
So that brings us on quite funny. So one of these townhouses we did, and it was actually the first one. Now the biggest problem is because we didn't really know what we were doing. We took this house and we just ripped it all apart. It didn't need it at all. Like we
went
ripped
too
it,
far,
went way
didn't we?
too far. Took it back to brick, and then we had to put. And then essentially there was a stop tap coming in, the mains water supply coming into the house. It was an old stop tap that we needed to change.
We probably didn't even need to change
I
it.
don't even know what we were doing. It just didn't open, but probably because we didn't know how to. So we're like, oh, we'll just cut it off, put a new one on. Now we didn't realise at the time that was the mains water coming from thingy. So we thought, well, if we're really quick, we'll just chop underneath it and put a new one on. Honestly, hilarious. So yeah, so we were doing it. So I was like, right, Tom, you get ready. So Tom has the new stop tap. I've got the saw. So I'm like 3, 2, 1, bang, water comes out, hits the roof. We're thinking, oh my God.
So
Tom
fingers straight
dives on with the stop that can't get it on. So we're like, oh, what do we do? So Tom's holding it with finger. Bear in mind, we're soaking wet.
Because the problem was, we didn't say the pipe had been painted, so the usual stuff just wouldn't fit because of the paint. So we're like, at this stage, panic is just hitting our faces. We're flooding this house. We're like,
see, the water is coming up to
We've just bought this house. We're flooding it already.
We're about 3 weeks
into our journey, and we're underwater.
Yeah, literally.
So we're holding the stop tap, and we're like, oh, we need to do something. Nothing would fit. So we're like, Jack, you're gonna have to go to.
So I jumped. I need to go to B&Q and get some.
You just had to sit there.
Honestly, yeah. So I went to
B&Q.
B&Q. It was about 40 minutes. Well, it was about 20 minutes there, 20 minutes back. When it well, Tom's just holding it with anything. He's got gloves on it, everything. I come back and just see
I'm just knackered,
exhausted about that much water.
Just floating, like the pipes like that. And I'm just like, I think my hand's just on it. Like, I've just given up.
But unfortunately, it's all concrete, so it's not going to do too much damage. And then I got to push it, so I rammed this on, and somehow it did the trick. But it was always a bit of a running joke in our family. Like, we never actually changed that stop tap, so that stop tap is still there. And it's like, we sold the house about 5 or 6
years ago.
5 or 6 years ago. And I'm assuming it's all right because nothing's happened. It's not
about
my problem anymore.
For about 8 years when we had that house, we were just fearing a phone call at like middle of the night. We're flooded.
It was funny.
But that was our part of the learning
But
curve.
actually, with all that actually went quite well, that house. It rented out really well. It was right opposite the hospital, which again wasn't planned, just lucky. But
Well, we found, didn't we, that, to be honest with you, I know everyone sort of says it, but location and just doing it for that was just so important. I mean, these houses rented out, like you wouldn't have to advertise, people would just walk past it, it'd be rented straight away. So we realised it was such a little like golden nugget hotspot. So we finished that house and it, took 3 times as long as it should have, cost twice as much as it should have. We learned so much from it, mainly of how not to renovate houses. The parts they don't show you on Homes with a Hammer was everything we were doing.
Yeah, 100%. That would actually be a really good show.
That would be great. But so then we did another 2 houses in the same area, and we did the same sort of thing, renovated them and rented them out, and they all did really well, to be fair. And that sort of got us started, and that's then we felt more confident, we were ready, and we're like, okay, well, let's take what's the next sort of step.
Yeah, we could use a bit of that cash flow to borrow some money and then basically grow from there.
And then essentially the big sort of turning point for us is when we decided to go into the student market, and that, as we know, we've been in it ever since. But basically, we were student age, we were sort of 20 years old at this age. All our friends were in student digs, they were in Newcastle, the cities and stuff. And we would go see them all the time, and we'd be sitting there, and they'll always be talking about, how much rent they're paying and blah, blah, blah. And we're like, we need to get in this.
Yeah, we're from the other side. They're complaining how much rent they're paying. We're going, the landlord's breaking it.
So we were thinking. So then we decided, we were like, okay, well, we'll buy right in the centre of Middlesbrough again. Again, entry point so cheap. So we bought. I won't tell you through, but our first 3 townhouses in Middlesbrough, we bought them for about 70 grand each, and there were sort of 3 beds, with the bathroom sort of downstairs. And our whole strategy at the time was, okay, buy the 3 beds, convert them into a 4/5 bed HMO. And rent the rooms out individually. So it's before the residential houses would be getting £500 a month for 70 grand. Well, these are getting 1,600 quid a month, and the returns are just astronomical. And we were like, what? We've hit an absolute gold mine here. So we did that for 3 houses, and it went really well. And then we realised, look, Teesside is such a... Basically, the big boys, we won't go into detail, but the university, the private sector, do accommodation in Teesside. So there's so much demand.
Yeah.
And we just fell on this demand, and it was, cheap to get in, loads of demand. So we did the 3 houses, went really well, and then we're like, we need to step up here, don't we? We want to, how do we get to the next sort of level? And that was, we'll not go through every house by house. I know,
That will take about 4 hours. Tom just goes on about every nail he's put.
I'm proud of every nail.
We don't want to take over this, So just, I don't want to just honestly, because we'll end up just railroading and boring everyone for about 2 hours.
it's really interesting the way that you approached it. I mean, did you at any point when you were doing this, when you were going from house to house and project to project, did you have an end game in plan? Did you
No,
think this is where we're aiming for?
No, I think with us, I think we very much. Well, I certainly didn't.
I think at the start, everyone at the start, when you start your own business and you have plans, like, look, everyone wants to be, a millionaire or rich or whatever that means. So you always want, like, you see it on TV and you see it all over social media, don't you? You sort of do aspire to that. But as we sort of grew in our journey, to be honest with you, just having the sort of the work-life balance, I know that's a really
Well, it became more of like a culture of we just really enjoyed what we were doing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at the start we weren't making any money at all. In fact, we were probably losing loads. But we loved it what we were doing. So we just wanted to build. It wasn't the fact like, oh, we picked these 3 houses because they were going to sell for this, and then we could do that. We're just like, oh, that looks really cool. Let's do that.
Yeah, I think that's
literally what it was.
That's probably where the success has come from, though, because it's your passion.
100%, yeah, and then that goes into the late days where it's like, honestly, I can't say how much you just love what you do, and then we're so hands on with it all. Like, when we do all the
builds. I was going to ask you about that, yeah, because you've learned all these skills about how to fit bathrooms and nail down lino. You actually you are involved.
100%. So we're
so involved.
So we did a bit.
Not gotten everybody else's nerves, all of the other people.
Honestly, well, yeah, it does. I think one of the projects we did in Middlesbrough was quite a big one. So this was like a big one. It went from the sort of 70 grand townhouses, and we sort of leveled it, and then we did a £4 million student scheme, which was about 60
There was
apartments.
a bit in the way. There was
a lot in the middle, which
there was about 3 or 4 years chunk in the middle,
which enabled us to sort of raise the finance. Like
the returns on those 3 houses are incredible.
That's a fair point. Okay, we built a couple of houses and sold them, which released about $1 million.
Yeah, to be fair. So we'll quickly. So basically, we built 2 5-bed luxury townhouses in Middle St George near Darlington.
Yeah.
Really nice sort of location. And
that project went all tits up.
Yeah, it did. So we always say that project
It was terrible.
was not. I say that project was not a successful project. Like, it took too long. The finished products were stunning, and we loved the houses, and the process for us was great, but it took too long, and we sold the houses just.
And we nearly got arrested.
Oh, we did.
Generally, we had we didn't know it. This basically sums us up. We didn't know about protected trees. All right, and that you couldn't cut them down.
Right.
So there was a tree right in the way where we needed to put a new driveway in for like the new house we were building. So the guy in the digger just took it out.
Well, before you ruin every residence in local house, like, we did have tree reports and stuff. There was 20 trees. We had permission to take 19 out, and that one, it turns out we didn't.
So we took it out, and then someone from a neighbour complained that we'd taken this tree out. So then council enforcement came, and I'm not joking, they read us our rights. They actually said, this is a criminal offence, I need to read your rights. And we were laughing at this. It's very serious, very serious. But I didn't understand what was going on. We didn't have a lawyer present, which I thought we did.
It sounds like you needed
It sounds like we
lawyer.
needed a
We
lawyer.
needed a good lawyer at that point. We rang my dad, who was a lawyer, but he just started laughing. So it wasn't very helpful.
He was like, I'll deliver you some porridge in jail, I think was the terms.
So that was project didn't go right. But what that did do was, because of the student properties being able to like cash flow well, it meant we didn't have to pay back the loan that we borrowed. So all the house sales that we made could go straight into the account, and we just pay it over long-term finance. So we sold the houses and brought in about £1 million doing that, but we didn't have to pay it back because we could absorb the finance costs. So we just used that money to then go into a big one.
So that's how we sort of stepped up, basically. So going from 3 townhouses to £4 million is not a jump you can normally make. But
fair
that's how we
point.
sort of stepped up.
Yeah. Go on then, if you want to.
No,
I forgot where I was now. So we did. So we did that. So and this big, what we doing? We handed it over to a main contractor. Absolutely fantastic.
It was too big for us to do.
Oh, this wasn't a Homes Under the Hammer job. This was a big boy scheme. So we handed it over to the professionals, and watching them do it was absolutely amazing. It was not. They didn't have to hold water pressure down with stop taps or anything. They didn't have to. So and that went really well, and that became our flagship development. Really, really
60
good.
apartments right in the town centre of Teesside.
Yeah.
And then we adopted the sort of philosophy of sort of the cities. So what Teesside was lacking was a bit of a city accommodation mentality. And when I sort of say that, it's like blocks of apartments with private gyms and cinemas and the whole lifestyle. Yeah. So then our whole philosophy for our student side of the business is just creating the student experience and lifestyle that you've said. And that they needed. And to do that, we needed to create them an environment which we could do that.
But in order to figure out how that was, we had to do a bit of a research trip, right? So we were like,
We have so many stupid stories, don't we?
So it was like before, we didn't know what we wanted to build, really. We knew we wanted student accommodation, but we were like, okay, well, let's come to Newcastle, where there's loads of this going on. We were student age still, pretend to be students.
Well,
and
we were starting to get
booked
a little
viewings.
bit.
Starting to get a bit older. We were mature as well, kind of. Well, I pretended I did architecture, which was 7 years, so that's fine.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we booked about 6 viewings of all the best accommodation in Newcastle. Came up with a backstory. I was Jack, I did architecture. You did...
I can't remember what I did, to be
Probably,
honest.
well, not psychology, but anyway, and we had tours of all these buildings, pretending we were students, and they showed us all the new models and and what they had. And we went to one, and this was hilarious. So we went to one, it was probably the last of the day, and they were showing us around. We were getting chatty with the guy showing us. And in the lift on the way up to the show flat, he was like, oh, so what do you guys do? He was like, oh, I'm a student architecture. He was like, oh, where at? I was like, oh, Northumbria. He was like, do you know Ben? I was like, sorry?
And meanwhile, I'm just sort of like,
yeah. I was like, oh, Ben. Oh, yeah, Ben. No, I'm not sure what year is he in. Oh, you're in 5th year. He's in the 5th year. Like, oh my God. I was like, oh, and I had to come up with something. I was like, oh, well, what does Ben specialise in? Because I specialise in sustainability. And we might be in different lectures. Bear in mind, there's probably like 30 people in this course. Anyway, so he was like, oh, that's weird. I'll ask him next time I see him.
you managed to ramble your way out of it.
I nearly got absolute busted on the lift up. I wouldn't even know what I just said. I just be like, yeah, look, we're trying to build one of these ourselves.
We're trying to steal your idea.
Yeah, trying to steal your idea. Anyway, we just steal our idea because it was lovely.
Yeah. But that went well. So that project was a brilliant project. It's still sort of probably our flagship sort of development in Teesside. And that was finished in 2018, wasn't it? And it's been brilliant ever since. Yeah. It's been good.
And then so that was a very rambly way to come on to where you set your hands on. So then the next one we decided to be the main contractor.
You decided to be the main contractor.
Yeah, so we thought, so we were going to basically we bought some land and we were going to build another 55 apartments, complete new build. And we were getting quotes back from main contractors and we were like, oh, we can do this way cheap. We can do this. Me and Tom, we're builders. We can do this.
We can do this.
So we were like, yeah, let's
get that toolbox out.
Honestly, right, let's do it. Oh my
That
word.
was a huge, that was probably the biggest decision in the last sort of, to be fair, probably our journey, to be fair, of actually just making that step of going, right, we're going to build it ourselves, we're going to become the main contractor and we're going to commit to it like 100%.
Yeah.
Like that was a massive, we were talking to the banks, they thought we were mad. We have quite a big team, consultants all helping us with all these sort of things. They were like, are you sure? Like it's a big step, like going from, building some houses for like 500 grand to building, this was going to be like another £4 million scheme.
Yeah, like you were going to be the site manager, I was going to sort of be more quantity surveyor type person.
Do nothing in the office.
I did loads in the office. I had to make sure the money kept coming in while you were just playing around on the diggers. Honestly, yeah. Telehandler Tom, we call him. Telehandler.
I thought I love driving a telehandler.
Yeah, it's good. But anyway, so it was really good and it was hard. That was the hardest thing I think we've ever done. So the first 6 months, probably first 8 months were brilliant because everything's a bit more relaxed at the start of building projects.
I'm not sure it was brilliant for Beale site, to be fair.
Well, not brilliant.
I mean,
it's great in the office.
Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, there was a
Lovely.
material crisis, so costs went through the roof basically on day one.
COVID was the back end of COVID.
Back end of COVID, so I was waterproofing a lift pit by myself on site at Sunday afternoon because it's the only time I could get on site because I think I had COVID or something like that. So I probably should have stayed at home, sorry, but I was too busy. So we decided doing all this sort of stuff, and it was. It wasn't, Jack said it was a rocky start.
Well, it wasn't easy, but it was easier than the last 6 months when we started running out of money.
Well, that is true.
Fear Less, Do More is brought to you by the team at Square One Law. If you're enjoying this episode, hit follow or subscribe. It really helps us out and it means that you won't miss out on any future episodes. We have some great fearless guests that leave you feeling really inspired. And if you think someone else would enjoy it too, feel free to pass it on, whether that's a mate, a colleague, or someone in your network. Thanks for listening. Now back to the conversation.
So basically in this game, so you rent all your accommodation out 8-9 months before. So it's like the building was basically a shell, and then we'd already rented all the rooms out, like all 55 rooms out for thingy. So 55 students were turning up on the 15th of September, whether we were ready or not.
Yeah.
And the last 3 or 4 months were absolutely like mental. I mean, the last month,
the hardest thing we've ever done in our lives.
In terms of like working, so we were both then on. I was dragged out of the office.
I needed.
Tom was behind schedule. I had to come and help him out. So
getting back on track.
Getting back on track.
Needed help.
Yeah.
Needed help.
So we and I'm not joking when we say this, but so open site up at about 7, and then me and Tom were probably going home averagely at about 12, 1, 2 a.m. in the morning.
Probably.
Like because we just had to all the lads left site at 4 o'clock, and then we just had to spend another, I don't know, 7-8 hours just cleaning, doing fitting, skirting boards, kitchens. Dude, that was the way we weren't going to make it. Like the last 3 days before students moved in, we had both our partners with us, and we were basically top to bottom cleaning the property, finishing it, snagging, cleaning. We didn't go home for, I'm not even joking here, for about 3 days solid. We stayed in the building day, night, day, night, day,
It's
night.
quite funny. On the day, I mean, students were moving in the morning, and I think 10 minutes before the first one moved in, Jack was laying the carpet in the lobby for them to sort of come in. And
we must have stunk.
Oh,
I mean, what an impression that is. These guys with their, I mean, what student moves into their new accommodation at 8 in the morning? I mean, that is so keen. Well, gives a chance. So it's like, anyway, so we were doing it, and she turns up with her mum, lovely, and we are exhausted and still. We haven't been in bed in 3 nights.
Mum, there's some homeless
Yeah. They're like,
Yeah.
who are you? Hi, I'm Jack, I'm your landlord, nice to meet you. Sophie will take you upstairs to your apartment and show you in.
I think I'm just asleep next door. So I'm in one of the bedrooms, probably her bedroom, fast asleep on the bed.
So that was a sort of an exercise of sort of stamina and will.
Did you ever, at any point in that, did you ever think, never again, this is it?
Oh yeah.
I mean, we had...
everyone was telling us, like, you need to take a year off, because I'm not... It was sort of, we laugh about it now, but it was really hard.
Yeah.
It was really hard. Like, we were mentally broken. We were exhausted. We were struggling quite a bit.
I mean, we've always been very sort of optimistic, very like, just go for everything, really going like people. It's just naturally, it's just what we like. But during that project, I mean, I had a proper sort of like full mental breakdown, like during, because the pressures of just running the site. There's 40 people on site all the time. Questions. You're just struggling you're just exhausted as well. Everyone knows every sort of like industry and stuff. But there was a time, so the day of, we always talk about this because it's quite good to talk about. But so during the day, I remember I turned up to site about 7, half 7, and the first thing sort of happened, little things like the skip driver tried to collect the skip, but it had been really rainy the day before, so the ground was wet, so he was in there, couldn't get the skip, and it's like, this is half 7 in the morning, it's already going to hell, like on site, and it's like, oh my God, so you get in there, and then just for about 4 hours, I have this one job, don't I? So we're just connecting up some of the main drainage, and there's concrete filling this massive hole in at literally 1 o'clock, and it's going to fill the hole in no matter what, if you're ready or not. Yeah. All I had to do was connect 2 pipes, and that's it. That was my only job for that morning. But it took me 3 hours, and I couldn't connect it because I was getting dragged from pillar to post, question. No one let me do anything, and I was just getting worked up. And I remember I was mixing my some concrete to sort of help mix the pipe, and I put my trolley just about to do it, and then someone came and dragged me in, so I left that there. Had to go sort an issue out on site for about 10-15 minutes. Came back and the concrete is set in the bucket. And honestly, you couldn't write it. It's set, so it wasn't usable, and I just lost it. I just broke down, didn't I? I walked into town because I needed to get a new bucket because that one was. So I just walked into town, and I remember walking through Middlesbrough, like High Street, and I was just burst into tears, just literally pouring over tears. Couldn't control it. It never really happened to me before. I walked down to like a back alley so no one could sort of see me, and I just sat on the wall, and I was just.
Well, I remember this vividly because I was sort of in a meeting at work in the office, and phone rang, and people do say this, like, we're twins, they're like, I can't read his mind, don't get me wrong, but you do have like a sort of intuition. It's probably like a mother's intuition with the kids and stuff. And the phone rang, and instantly I knew something was wrong. Like, it just rang, I was like, nah. So I answered it, and then I was like, Tom, you all right? And then Tom was like, yeah, and then just burst into tears. I was just like, oh no. So I stopped that and I just left. I can't remember what, I just left him.
You just admitted.
Stood up. I was like, right, I need to go. They were like, oh, what are you doing in the middle of this? Nah, this is more important. So ran out of the meeting, got in my car, drove up Linthorpe Road at the correct speed, up for Linthorpe Road, and basically got to site. I was like, dumped my car on site. I was like, where's Tom? And they were like, oh, I don't know, I haven't seen him. I was like, right, okay. And then someone was like, I think he's gone into town. So I was like, all right. And I knew, because I knew he was sort of upset. I was like, knowing Tom who is, he'll probably be by himself. He'll probably go to the park, because he used to walk around the park with your dog.
Yeah, I'd take my dog for a walk around the park. If it got really stressful,
so I was like, so I went to the park, and as I was walking to the park, I just saw in the distance, just this downtrodden, poor lad with a bucket and wellies on. Just like, and I was just like, oh, there he is. So anyway, I went and saw him, and then we had a bit of a moment. We had a bit of a cry in a moment. We sat on the bench, and they were like, right, look, let's just break it down to really simple terms. This is your task for the day. So then I went back onto site, And while Tom was getting a new bucket and new cement, I just said to everyone, I was like, nobody come anywhere near us for 2 hours. Like, I don't care what your problem is, deal with it. You're the professionals, deal with it.
Yeah.
So then me and you, and to be fair, in the sun, we then mixed the cement, we had a bit of fun, we sort of like broke the task down and we got the job done.
And you know what? It was a really good sort of like enjoyable
it was a nice moment,
afternoon.
to be fair. It was a really nice moment.
Yeah.
Do you think that's one of the benefits of working with a sibling?
100%. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people that always say, like, how do you work well? Like, do you work well together? Do you argue? Yeah, we're a little, not really.
You're human. You're human, aren't you? So there'll be things you don't agree on.
100%. But I think the thing is, like, for the last 14, we've always got each other's backs. Like, you know, we are generally like a really good team.
Yeah, well, we're best friends, aren't we?
Yeah, we're best mates. We've always got
I don't want him seeing that. No, but it's like, when we were saying, so when you're working with your best friend and like your twin, it's like the highs are really high because they're together. You're both sharing, and the lows aren't quite as bad because, again, you can sort of help each other through it.
I mean, that exact example of, you know, I was at the lowest point I've probably ever been, to be fair, mentally. Like, I'm not the type of person who breaks down all emotional, but that was probably the lowest point I've ever really been at, to be fair. And you came, and within sort of half an hour to an hour, we were back up there, level ground. We were doing a job that we enjoyed again. We succeeded. And then, you know, afterwards, we had a really nice, it was just, you know, that was brilliant. Like, we had a really good afternoon. So that, I mean, if you weren't there, God knows what sort of, would have been fine eventually, but having you there and working as a team got us through those. That's basically been the case throughout our whole sort of journey. Like, the lows have never been that sort of low, but like Jack says, the lows are never that low when we're together, and that's just really nice sort of thing. Yeah, we love that, to be fair.
Quite cute, isn't it?
Oh, it's quite well, so I get a little bit emotional thinking about that.
It's good to hear, because I think people love a bit of drama and angst, and like to hear stories about how you've had a massive, you know, fallout about things, and the whole sibling rivalry thing, and you know but it's nice to hear actually that it's a positive relationship, and then it's actually really what it's done is it's strengthened your business as a result.
Very much so. I mean, it's, you know, imagine, I'm not going to get too cheesy, but you wake up and then you go to your office and you're just with your best friend all the time. That's great, isn't it? How cool is that? And you know, we've got a great work-life balance. So you know, it's stressful when it is, but normally we'll go to the office, and we sort of said before, but we've got the office team working away, doing all the stuff, and sometimes me and Tom are just like, I don't really know what to do.
Just looking at each other across the office and like,
just like, I mean, honestly, we annoy the hell out because we just throw a ball to each other and we just play like tennis on the desks and whatever else.
Try to scheme, come up with ideas, but really we just get compared against each other for a catch.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out who makes the team.
Do you bring different things to the party, or are you?
We were thinking about this on the way up, weren't we? Like, I think
during a project, we do bring different things. So, I'm very much like on site, and like I'm really good at dealing with like the contractors and the programs of the construction sort of like process, and you're much better at the sort of the money side, working with the banks, the quantity surveyors, to keep the project going.
Yeah, you're spending it, I'm trying to get it.
Basically
what's happening.
But like we're sort of saying, to be fair, we're just a good team. We both have strengths.
I feel like you're definitely more organised and more sort of.
Well, it's not hard to be more organised than you.
I'm shocking. I mean, so Tom will do the things that need to be done. But, you know, everyone always says you do a to-do list, don't you? Yeah. You write it all down. He's like, right, these are what have to be done. Tom will do them while I'm making a poster.
Yeah. So, Jack's like, Jack will do things to add to the to-do list just so he can tick it off.
So it's like...
things you've already done.
So it's like, I'll send an email to them. But it wasn't on my list. Send email to Charles. Oh, look what I've ticked off that. Yeah, I was like,
Well, I'm actually like, let's just try and get through it. Like, we'll get through it and then we can have fun at the end. But
just want to have fun at the start.
So after that big sort of flagship project, you were, despite the fact it brought you to rock bottom, there must have been a high at the end of that. It must have been a success.
I'll tell you what, I mean, that actual project is a massive success. It was gone really well. It's been 100% full ever since. And in terms of like an asset operator, does really well. Yeah, I think for us, it's really important. I think this is for every like business owner. It's really important to, when you're in it, it's all just a whirlwind, and it's sort of in it now, but it's only when you do stuff like this or like talks and stuff where you sit back and you start talking about it, you think, I was so proud of like getting through that and like what we've actually achieved there.
100%.
When you don't see that, it's only when you literally do take a step back and go, look what we've done. Yeah. So that's really nice.
So I think because it was such a massive risk, like becoming the sort of main contractor and building stuff. Yeah. But to actually pull it off
Yeah.
Like we always had the sort
Yeah.
of self-confidence in ourselves to do it, but to actually do it and almost, I don't want to sit here and say, you know, prove the doubters wrong, but there is a bit of that. And like, you know, it was just, for us, it was just a massive sense of confidence that, you know what, if we can do that, we can do anything, like, to be fair.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, the podcast sort of theme is around fearlessness, and obviously you've taken lots of decisions which people would say that was pretty fearless.
Yeah, reckless.
Slash reckless.
Where do you think that fearlessness came from? Is this from role
It's
models? Is this
no,
from
it's the
something-
sense of not really knowing what would go wrong. I think it's the
And I
sense.
think
There's almost a sense of, well, let's just do it. Like what? Like it looks fun. I think it'll be great. We're really confident in what we do.
I think each other is. I mean, we egg each other on, and we sort of like we just like we sort of said it.
We never think, why not?
As
Like,
a
I don't get
team,
why not?
we sort of feel, you know, indestructible as a team. We feel like we can do anything as a team.
Yeah.
Because
Now-
you know if things do go wrong,
We've got each other.
Yeah,
and
and you'll find a way.
You know, essentially, you know, we'd have lost Lloyd's Bank £2.5 million, but
I'm sure they'll find it somewhere else. But there is that sort of stuff. It's like, oh, yeah, I think we've talked about how, you know, we wing quite a lot, but it's like we knew it would work. So we know the schemes will work. It's just pulling them off, and then we have the confidence that we can pull them off. So it's like you just sort of sit
do
there
it,
and
don't you?
just do it.
Yeah,
just
do
crack
it.
on. Just
I'm
do
sure
it.
you've been asked this before, but like, you know, if there's somebody sitting who's just started uni, is thinking, oh, this academic life's not what I thought it was going to be, which I think a lot of students do
Yeah,
nowadays.
very
I think
much
it's
so.
far more common.
yeah.
Because there are so many more university places now, and people just presume that's the
Just
way.
do it, yeah.
What would you say to them?
Oh, that's such a hard. I know.
Okay.
I should have researched this. I should have known you were going to say.
that's what I said.
But it's just doing it, isn't it?
I would say, look, it's scary, but I think you have to be honest with yourself. Like, if you know it's not for you, like, then just look at alternatives. I mean, there's so many brilliant ways out there. I mean, the trade, for instance, is
We're
crying
massive
out.
fans of the trade.
Yeah,
but learn to be an electrician, plumber,
honestly,
whatever. Loads of good stuff.
The trade is crying out for more, like, people in it. I mean,
People are quite snobby about it though, and think, oh, that don't do. But honestly, my decorator plumber earn a fortune. Honestly, they earn good money. So what's that
it's
thing?
a good lifestyle. You your own. I mean, you take that. But if you set up your own plumbing, you'll be your own boss. You can do your own thing, and it just go out there and try it. Like, if you're not going to go to university, I'm not saying do what we did and, you know, live in a caravan and farm and sort of stuff like that. But go do work experience, you know, with some builders. Go check out apprenticeship stuff. I mean, there's so much amazing things like to do with your hands. I mean, like, we're not book people. We're not academic in terms of school academia, but in terms of like getting out there and being practical, there's so much opportunity.
Well, take the risk was what I read the other day. I love it. It's a calculated risk. So take the risk. Like a calculated risk is, you know, if the worst outcome is manageable, then just go for it. You know what I mean? I think that's really nice.
I would say it is hard to answer that question, but I would say just go for it. Like, especially when you're young as well. Like, just go for it.
I always just think, what's the worst that can happen? It all goes tits up and you move back in with your mum. It's great.
Well, you don't-
Meals.
you don't
Well, we're
know,
not.
you
No,
know,
we
you
go in a
know.
caravan. Yeah.
you didn't want to.
Yeah,
you said
exactly.
that.
Yeah,
You didn't want to.
Yeah, fair. Yeah.
And it's quite a challenging industry anyway, isn't it? Construction.
is.
You know, it's very volatile. It's very reactive to market, and you know, you must have been through some pretty choppy times over the last.
Yeah, big time. I mean, the last 2 years, I'll be honest, have just been hanging on. Like, really, because
they have.
base rate increases. I mean, what is that? Went up 14 times. Every time the base rate went up like 0.25, it cost us 20 grand a year in interest payments.
Yeah.
So our costs went skyrocket.
We had
Putin invaded Ukraine, energy crisis hit immediately.
We
so
were just coming to the end of Dorman House, the big project, and we were sitting in the sort of side cabin. And we were trying to negotiate for energy. We needed to get a meter in there. Our whole portfolio was coming up for renewal. So just at the time, the market went crazy.
Yeah.
I remember we got a quote in from our brokers, and like, oh look, it's going to be 50p a kilowatt. Bear in mind, we were paying about 18 before, so like it's 50p
And our
a kilowatt.
usage is mental as well,
So it's going to be 50p kilowatt, but we can only hold this deal for 2 hours because they're changing so often. So we were sitting there going, I'm not paying 50p.
It's
Don't be
ridiculous.
stupid.
That'll
Literally,
bankrupt us.
Yeah. Came back, and then a week later when we had to sign, we were paying like 80p a kilowatt hour. And it was just so like crazy at the time. And
so we're fortunately now coming to the end of that, but the 2 years is literally just been. Unfortunately, it's not little violins time. Don't get me wrong. Like the business still
It's the
performs really well.
realities of
It
the
is
reality.
industry.
And
well, we had a brilliant sort of experience, and this is where, when we say, like you said it before, we're building the lifestyle for the student. Now, because we're so hands-on and personal with the students, we did know them all by name. We'll see them around the buildings. Any issues, me and Jack will go sort out face to face, because we just like to do that sort of thing. It's who we are. But it comes to show that when our utility bills in the whole country went through the roof, we were sitting in a meeting, it was me, you, some of our advisors on our office team, and we're going, look, if this goes on, then there's a serious risk that we might not be able to open the doors, because it just won't make any money.
Yeah, we're like, it'd be more beneficial for us just to not let anyone in and just close up.
The only way we can make this work is if we go to all of our residents, 150 of our residents, and say, look, we're going to have to increase your rent by 10%. They'd all sign fixed contracts, so they could all rightly just turn around and go, no, not my problem, mate, sorry, that's up to you.
So basically we wrote a really nice letter, like I remember writing it, we wrote it in the office, about 3-page letter, basically explaining the situation, and we said to them, look, if you know, we need to increase your rent by 10%. If you don't think it's fair or don't want to do it, then you can leave your contract, you know, we'll not hold you to it, go find another accommodation, we appreciate you. And anyway, we sent this letter out to them all. I mean, and we were terrified.
Wasn't going to help us out.
No, 10% was nothing to us, but
it just meant we could open the doors, basically.
Yeah, it was almost hit and break even.
Yeah.
So we sent it out, and we were terrified that they were all going to come back and go, oh no, like what you're doing, you can't do this, blah, and like kick off.
Everyone's
first email,
a lawyer and all that sort of stuff, going to hit us with everything. We were like, here we go.
We thought we were going to get sued and whatever. So it's like the first email came back, and it was. Oh, honestly, it was lovely. It was this one girl saying, oh, look, I really appreciate you reaching out to us. Like, we understand what's going on in the world. Like, 10% seems really fair. Thank you for keeping it like this. And I'll sign up to it. Honestly, just burst in tears.
Yeah.
I remember in the office, just burst in tears, because just how nice the people were. And everybody accepted it.
All 150
well,
people.
1 or 2 didn't, but wasn't.
It was about 140 or 150. All came back really nice. Said, look, really appreciate it. Like, we want to stay here. We love being with you guys. Like, yeah, we'll do it. And that was just a real sort of moment. That was a high. I mean, obviously a real high for us. And then, but that again, and then that makes us just think, okay, well, how important the student experience is so important. So our whole model of our whole business and students is just.
And it was like, you know, when the costs were really high, we increased it. And then when they started coming down, we then reduced the rent to try and make it fair for everyone. So it was, you know, it just, that was nice.
That's a real differentiator for you, though, isn't it? I mean, my daughter's at university at the moment. She's in student accommodation. And it is exceptionally expensive. It's lovely. It's far nicer than I had when I was at uni, which was a prison bed and sink.
Shared, probably.
But I mean, it's a lovely place. But the problem that she has is that the landlord doesn't deal with anything. Yeah. So they haven't since she went in September. Their hob has not worked. And it's still not working.
So tell where she is, I'll get the van. I
think I've probably got a hob in the van.
Probably got.
But you can, that's what's the differentiator. It's not all the whistles and bells and I've got a microwave and I've got a dishwasher. No, it's the fact that if something goes wrong, it gets sorted, and having a personal relationship with the
biggest
right.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, our office is basically in Middlesbrough, so they'll come down. You know, it's daft little stuff like my TV remote's run out of batteries. Yeah, you know, what's giving you? You know, it's all that. But
well, it's nice. But we made a conscious effort, didn't we? Like, because we could have just given this to like a letting agent to manage all that stuff, and we could just go off building and forget about it. Yeah. But we really made that conscious effort to do what you said and try our best. Like, we're not always perfect. We're not always perfect at it, stuff, obviously, but we always try our best to put the student first.
But do you do that because that's a sort of differentiator, so it's better business, or do you do that because you have that sort of empathy with them and you know what it's like?
I think there's a bit of both. I think almost just like it's just our personality. I just like everybody.
Yeah, and it's like we're very proud of the buildings and the sort of stuff. So we want them to enjoy it. We want them to enjoy being here. And from a business point of view, it works well because we get a really big retention rate. Like, people stay 3, 4, 5 years with us. And obviously that's great. But to us, putting that to a side, we want them to have. They pay a lot of money, like you said. I mean, it's really expensive, and we know that, and we appreciate that. So we want to try and give as best value as we can. And like you said there, it's not necessarily about having the private gyms, the cinemas. It's about when the hob's broken, go get them a new one. Yeah. You know, it's things like that.
It is daft. It is daft. I mean, the amount of toilet seats we've changed, honestly, over the years. I mean, I think we're probably up to, I'm not even joking, about 80 toilet seats.
It
is. It's hilarious.
Like, it's consumable now, isn't it? It's like a light bulb.
It is. It's like, so, oh my God.
We used to do, so we go through phases with what we wear. So we're quite casual, you probably see. We're quite sort of casual with what we wear. But we went through a phase of about 6 months of wearing suits and ties. We were like, look, I want to be in the office.
I want to be smart. Let's be proper business.
Like, let's try it for a bit. Like, we probably watched The Apprentice or something. We thought,
it looks good.
Like, let's wear suits. So we were in the office, And then
We
literally,
looked good though.
Oh, we looked great.
Yeah, we looked great.
And they were like, and then like day 2, we were unblocking a toilet, and I'm rolling like my suit, sort of like
ties over there.
Unblocking a toilet.
Blocking
It
this
became
toilet.
very apparent that we're not in the game for suits.
I'm surprised that the suit manufacturers are still going because
No,
people just don't
everything.
wear them.
I
No,
don't
not
think
at all.
anyone does now, to be fair.
So what's next? Where are you gonna
Well,
take this next?
Yeah, it's really cool. So we
got a few
so
things
the-
in the pipeline.
so after Dorman House, obviously the latest one that finished in 2022.
Yeah,
was it? So
2022
it's been a little
September.
bit of a while we've been trying to save some money up to be honest. Because again, we said we've had sort of like huge costs. So we're saving up some money. So the problem with property is it's very expensive to do. So you've got to save up a bit of money, then borrow some. But the cost of borrowing at the moment is so high. But
we took the view.
there's a few good things in the pipeline.
We finished Dorman House, and we always planned to take at least a year from building. I mean, we needed it just to sort of recover, business to recover, us to recover, anything like that. And then what happened after the years, we started finding these big projects. Oh, that'd be brilliant, that'd be amazing. And for one reason or another, I'm not going to get into it, but we've had a few big projects that have just haven't happened for all sorts of
I think they changed like political
political
landscape and all
reasons,
this
stuff like that. It's been difficult, to be fair. And we were sort of, for the past 12 months, we to be fair, we'll admit it, we put all our sort of eggs into one basket for this really big project, which has been a brilliant project for us. And it just about a couple of months ago just sort of collapsed due to sort of like political reasons. So we're currently just out there actually looking for our next developments, to be fair.
So if anyone's watching this has got a nice little bit of office block for sale in Newcastle, but we don't know where we want to be. So at the moment, everything's been in Middlesbrough at the moment because it's been a low entry point. But now we're sort of potentially going to broaden our horizons a little bit.
Yeah, we're looking at this. Like we'll probably keep doing sort of student accommodation because it's not what we know and we love. But we'll always look for sort of what we call like the polytechnic like town.
Right,
so like we won't come to Newcastle because it's too competitive. We don't have the resources to compete with what we call the big boys up here.
But it doesn't have to be property, does it? I
No,
mean, we're really
opportunities.
opportunity. I mean, we nearly opened a cable wakeboard park in Middlesbrough.
What?
Cable wakeboard park.
What is that?
So it's like basically it's like wakeboarding, but there's basically cables overhead, and it just drags you up, and you go around a dock and a cable.
Basically,
we went on one in a stag.
we went on a stag do
ages ago,
about
and we thought
15
this
years.
is class. So it's like, why don't we open one of these in Middlesbrough? Like the dock's perfect for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't really work.
But the thing is like
the dock wasn't perfect for it. Too many shopping trolleys.
But we're quite. But we're quite, like Dad said, opportunistic. We're looking for all sorts of things. Like we don't just do student accommodation. We do residential schemes. We do commercial office blocks. We do all sorts.
There's a really cool old warehouse in Hartlepool, which is gorgeous old brickwork, and like the builder in us almost takes over, and like more the sort of like the love for a building. We see this old building, and think, oh, how amazing would that be? And then we end up diving into all the details and it won't actually make any money because it's going to cost so much to repair. Blah, blah, blah,
So we're at the moment, we're just sort of, the office team, that everyone in the office are sort of running the student accommodation bit. We're just sort of getting in the way in the background.
They actually are.
They're trying to get us a project to get us out of the office.
Yeah.
I think.
Bulk toilet seat.
They are.
purchasing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, our office is full of mattress protectors, toilet seats. What's the bloody paint? Yeah. And then what else? Oh man, light bulbs or whatever nonsense.
But yeah. So
And outside of that, outside of the business, do you spend time together outside of?
Yeah, our relationship is
too much.
24/7.
It's mental. Like if you ask our girlfriends, it's just weird. It's like,
They're not twins as well, are they?
No, we both call Sophie.
They are both called Sophie.
How mental's that?
That is mental.
So yeah, we do. I mean, really boring, but we play a lot of golf with our dad. Yeah, we spend a lot of time
We do
together.
spend a lot of time together. Like I was
He's
just
not a bad lad, really. I don't mind him. He's a good guy.
our friendship groups are the same. Like so, we're all the same friendship groups. So yeah, no, we spend a lot of time together. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. Like my partner's a twin as well.
Oh yeah.
And it's funny. I forget sometimes, and they'll say, "Oh, my sister's going out with such and such a friend."
Yeah.
But it's their friend as well. I'm like, why are they going out with your friend? Yeah. Oh, no, that's because you grew up together.
All the same.
Yeah,
Well, it is. Yeah.
It is the same.
I mean,
yeah.
I've tried to get Jack out of the friendship group. He just keeps
I
hanging
know.
on.
Okay. What was it like? This might be completely wrong. So not very, is it nature versus nurture? So our environment growing up was exactly the same. We ate the same things. We sort of did all the same things. Everyone's like, "Why are you so similar?" It's like, well, because we are the same person. Like, we've done the same things. Yeah. I'm older by 2 minutes, and I'm an inch taller.
I was just about to say, you never
makes
let
a
me forget
difference.
that you're a little bit
You were the
taller.
greedy one. You were the greedy one.
Actually, Tom tried to kill me in Mum's
dear.
womb. Yeah,
I think kill's a little bit
No,
extreme.
he tried to kill me. So when we were obviously in the womb together, entangled. Tom had his hand wrapped around my umbilical cord.
did,
Do you know how babies they just grab? So
Yeah,
apparently,
yeah.
so I wasn't getting any food or nutrients or anything. So I was
Too right,
slowly.
you know.
So they had to pull us out quite quick. But yeah, sorry about that. That took a weird turn. But yeah, so Tom actually tried to kill me, and now we've become best mates. So
Well, that's clickbait for you, isn't it?
There we go. That's the.
That's the headline
twin
right there,
tries to
isn't it?
kill twin. Yeah. Have it. I'll maintain it to this day. Yeah.
So one final question. Podcast called Fear Less, Do More. We've talked a lot about the sort of fearless side of things, but what would you like to do more of?
Oh, what a good question. Travel for me. Is that really cliche to say travel?
No, not
I want to
at
get
all.
out of Middlesbrough, and I love Middlesbrough, and I love the North East, and I love, don't get me wrong, but I want to see. I feel like because we've spent so much time working and working and working.
I think that's a good point.
I want to go out and do a little bit more like new experiences, maybe
Travel
abroad.
Asia, sort of.
Yeah, and not just, I've done a few of these places on holiday, but what I really want to do is that, like, I want to go to France, buy a barn, and spend 6 months living over there and just renovate it.
Yeah.
How sick would that
You
be?
know what will happen though? You'll end up with going, oh, we could do that here,
And-
and we could do this here.
Yeah, well, I
It
hope
will
so.
be, yeah.
We nearly bought, well, I don't know how close we were to actually doing it. There was this a boat for sale, like an old speed. I think it had like.
It was in Greece.
It crashed in
It'd
Greece.
run aground in Greece. And me and Tom thought we could
were
make
like,
that work.
We were like, hang on, we can go live in Greece.
Yeah.
We can spend a year just renovating this boat we know nothing about.
Yeah.
Like,
Don't know what fiberglass is,
No,
but we
but-
could figure it out.
Hey, we figured out what OSB board was. We can figure out what fiberglass
Did
is.
you? What does OSB board stand for, Tom?
Oh,
Originator strand board. That might not be right. It sounds good though. Let's do it.
I wouldn't know. We'll just pretend.
Yeah, but we
yeah,
did, didn't we? We saw this boat in Greece.
We did, but we'd love to do. I'm going to say we, but like I think we would both love to do something like a few love projects, like a few things out there, which like renovate things, camper vans into stuff, and just some love projects for a few years. To be fair, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's great. So good luck with that. I think
We're
whatever
gonna
you
need
do is
it.
going to be interesting. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
And it's been brilliant having you on today. And
Well, thank you very
sharing
much. What an
sharing your
honour.
Story.
Oh,
yeah,
thank you
yeah.
very
Well,
much.
sorry if we waffled too much, but yeah.
No, you don't.
We do that.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Fear Less, Do More, brought to you by Square One Law. If you found today's conversation inspiring or interesting, we've added a recommendation for what to listen to next. That's either on the screen now or in the show notes. Take care, and we'll see you next time.